name is Monica Henderson, and I know you've heard that phrase, teamwork makes the dream work. Well, today we're going to be talking about how building a team factors into your success and life and business. Let's Hello! I know the laughter is everything, right? Twice a week, even still, it gives me a Google inside. But if you are watching this right now, you are also a part of the show. It is myself and my friend Joanne. It is you. So if you have a comment, you are liking the conversation, chat, we will put it across the screen and you will be a part of this conversation. Even if you want just to say hi, go ahead and put that up there. But to introduce you to one of my new best friends is Joanne, the other Sunshine Coast. she's in Australia.
Hello, all the way from Australia.
Yes.
I'm super pumped to be here. Thank you, Monica.
Our dope conversation. We're going to continue our dope conversation that we started a while ago. But the question that I have for you, for us to get to know you better, is why are you passionate about helping people work together by connecting creatively by using your zone of genius?
Well, it's interesting. I've owned a number of businesses over the last 20 years, about 15 different companies. And there's one that comes to mind that I built to 110 staff over a very short space of time. And I know one thing that I did that I don't think I shared with you, Monica, when we first caught up, in that when I was building this business, I shared the vision of where I wanted to take the business. And I said to the team, when I see $1 million hit my bank account, we're in Brisbane on the top end of Australia. I said, I will fly you first class to one of the cities, Sydney, which everybody would be familiar with. First class to Sydney, high-end restaurant, and come back. And I managed to do that. And it was an incredible day. And, I always remember taking a team. At that point, the team was only about 6 or 7 people. We drove to the airport in a convoy. They're expecting to get on a commercial flight. And I take a detour to the private airport. And as we drive up to this driveway, this garage door comes up. And as the garage door comes up, there is a private jet sitting right in front of us. And I can't tell you what that did for building. Like, the team were beyond excited, and so was I. It was interesting. It was cheaper for me to hire an entire plane than put 8 people on first class on a commercial flight. So that was a massive win and such a wonderful experience. And we had a brilliant day. Limos there, limos back, beautiful, amazing, first time ever hired a plane. But what I know it did, because I shared the dream and the vision with my team, but the payback, and that's not why I did it. I did it because I wanted to celebrate and share and help everybody enjoy the journey of building this business. But the loyalty, the tenure, the buy-in for what we wanted to do with the hard work we needed to do in this business, it just helped this business grow at an incredible rate because I included the team in the journey. That's just a beautiful little memory that I have about the importance of sharing and team building. It's extreme, and I haven't done it since, but it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that is a beautiful dream and a beautiful to be able, right? And sometimes we don't really, sometimes it is easier to fulfill an outlandish dream than it is for us to do something practical. So there's so many lessons in the story you just said right now. But I love that. It showed a lot about who you are as a person, right? It shows that you were a word, that you were living in integrity, and that you valued them so deeply, so that so much so that you went even above and beyond their reward. And so I love that conversation, that just that whole story. For the my zone of genius, I've built an entire business, right? My entire business is built on
Mhm.
collaboration and support from others. And why I'm passionate from my zone of genius in this is because no one can build a business alone. It is impossible for you to any be successful. And
Mhm.
there's always going to be someone. So even if people think, well, it's just me, I'm the only one in my business, I'm the only employee. It's not true, because you have the printers who you have to go to, you have the people who are supplying you with things, people in there. And
Mm.
I love having this conversation about connectivity and connecting your team. Entrepreneurs are just not aware. Solopreneur, you're not in your business by yourself. There are so many other people who are involved in that journey.
Yeah, you're so right, Monica. I know. Like I do a lot of mentoring and coaching and have some programs. And one of the key aspects we always talk about in my business, Navigate Biz, in the importance of scaling your business. Now, you might choose to be a solopreneur, as you say. But one of the key pieces, we talk about mindset first, and then we always talk about next, build a team. And people
Yep.
instantly go to, but I'm not ready to employ. How do I employ them? I won't stop. Absolutely stop here. When I say talking about building a team, it includes so much more than the people you bring within your business. The first place it starts, I know for me, thank goodness I had this person. When I first started my business 20 odd years ago, I was arrogant enough to think, I've been in this industry for 20 years. Everybody knows me. They'll just come, right? We know that's not true. We know that's not true. But thank goodness I had a mentor that said, Joanne, come on, pick yourself up. You know you need to do things differently in your business. You need to grow it. So when I talk about building a team with my clients and my connections, it's who are you surrounding yourself with, whether it's within your business or external your business, making great connections. Like I met Monica a
Yeah.
few weeks ago, and that is a great connection because we can bounce ideas off one another. We're going to learn from one another today. I'm sure of
Yep.
it. But then I don't know who you know. You don't know who I know. But you so need to. But I think you've one piece of advice I really want to share here is be mindful of who you connect yourself with and who you are listening to and what information you're absorbing.
Yeah.
Because you should always quality check what's their credibility, what's their experience in what they're talking about. Because I know we're all surrounded by family and friends, me too, who are not entrepreneurs, and they say things and they do things they do with great love for me, but it's not necessarily relevant for me as an entrepreneur and a
Right.
business owner. So you've got to build that awareness muscle, right? To go, oh, really love that you said that. But I don't need to take that on board. I'll give it back to you with love, and I'm just going to continue on with my journey. But I have an answer about how you resolve that piece. But yes, surrounding yourself with a circle of people, your accountant, your lawyer, your HR, your mentor, your coach, life, money, all these people need to be keeping you in check and holding you accountable, right? Give them
Yeah.
permission to give you accountability.
Yeah. You're like leaning to the actual topic of the day so much. Like the whole point of getting right building concept. And you literally
Yeah.
just answered like, why is building a team of professionals important for thriving in business? And it's because all of those people do what they do better than you
Then
do.
you.
It take
Oh,
them way less time to get it done. And as a matter of fact, they may even be excited to do it. That one
for
thing that
you.
you read, sheets and accountant loves to do it, does it in their sleep, does it blindfolded practically, and it takes them a
Mm,
few 18 billion years
I know.
to how to do it properly, right? So, you
Yeah.
know, surrounding yourself who are really good at what they do, right? Like really amazing at the one thing. Maybe we always talk genius pods and like
Mm,
groupings of geniuses, but what I found in my community is sometimes we may do the same job, but we may not actually do the same job. Like
correct.
we may do a similar thing, but approach it differently, and therefore we
Exactly.
are not technically doing the same job, right? So not even like being surrounded by people who even do what you do, but they do it differently also sharpens, right? It sharpens the knife. It
Yeah.
makes you
Yes.
much better at what you're doing. And that's one of the things that Joanne and I were talking about when we first connected. It was like, oh my gosh, like, no, like we could learn from each other. We could make each other better. I might have something that she likes and she's like, oh, how'd you do that? I want to do that too. Show me how to do that. And she might have something that I like. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Joanne, how the heck did you do that? Show me. And that makes us better in the process.
Better.
It makes us thrive in that way.
Yeah. I think you made a really good point that I want to hone in as well, is surrounding yourself with the right people who do things because that's their genius zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a very huge believer in if you're going to outsource and connect with people to do your bookkeeping, do your marketing, give you legal advice and so on and so forth, don't not know anything about the topic.
Right.
How many people I've heard, I've outsourced my marketing, I've outsourced my accounting, but I'm not quite getting the response that the outcome that I expected, the return on investment. And I'll say to them, and this is a really common piece. I get my reports from my accountant and bookkeeper. They go in a drawer. I don't want to ask anything because I'm too embarrassed because I don't actually understand the financial terminology, what story my financials are telling me, so I can't make good decisions. I can guarantee every listener here, if you went to your bookkeeper and accountant and said, help me to understand these reports, or find a financial coach, or you can talk to me, talk to Monica, whoever, and say, and take the responsibility of understanding the idea of what bookkeeping looks like and educate yourself about the terminology so that when you get those reports from your accountant or bookkeeper and say, let's have a strategic conversation around these figures. What can I do to improve? They're the expert, but you actually understand the terminology. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't blindly outsource. Same with marketing. Get an idea of what marketing is so you know what you're getting back is what you need it to be. Too many people blindly outsource.
I 100% agree. I'll double down on what you're saying in
Please.
that. So that's usually the first statement. It's like, oh, no, I'm not good at that. I'm just going to have someone else do it. That is the first statement, and that we agree that 90% of the time that's that. But what I will say is one of the reasons why I am successful in my business and what I am doing is because I sit in the seat first. I sit in that seat first and identify, okay, like what does it look like from this perspective? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what am I trying to do and how bad am I doing it? Right. And then, when I go to explain to the person, like, listen, when I sit in this seat, this is what I'm trying to achieve. I'm horrible at it.
Yeah. And you take hours at it.
So that I can get what I'm looking for from this perspective, but without me having to do any of that work. And that shift in like understanding that you have to sit in every seat of your business at one point or another, just so that you can hand it off properly. And I'll do you even one better. I even sit from that seat and go, how can I make this job easier for me? So that when I turn around and give it to someone else, that it's not like I'm not overwhelming and
Exactly. You are so right, Monica. I know for me, like we all do tasks in our business that we're not so fussed about, and they're probably the ones you may need to outsource. And people will say to me, go, well, Joanne, outsourcing will cost me more money. And I go, okay, let's go back to this. Let's come back here. You are doing a task that would cost you X, Y, Z, certain dollars per hour to get that task done. And I'll go back and say, so what's your hourly rate for the service that you deliver? Oh, well, it's this. And invariably, you'd like to think it's more. It should be more because that's your expertise. So if you look at, a coach or someone like that, it could be like $550 an hour. It could be their hourly rate. But they're struggling with a spreadsheet, doing the bookkeeping, et cetera. And that's an XYZ amount. And I'll say to them, if you can switch that out and outsource that and put in that income producing activity that's going to generate you $550 an hour, I can guarantee you can afford that today.
Right.
So if you put it to money, like it's good. It's good for your brain, for your stress levels, because when you're not in flow, you feel it, right? I'm sure you do. It's the same, Monica. When I'm doing things that I'm not in flow, I'm like, oh, it hurts my brain. It hurts my body. It's a physical reaction for me.
Well, and that we want to procrastinate. We don't want to other things. And so like that task then becomes the barrier to success. And so this brings us again to our next question. We're just like rolling along here, which is really great. Is
Yeah,
how
for sure.
has
It's great.
connecting with teammates been a problem for you in the past? Did you overcome it? So like when people are sitting in the seat of like, okay, I'm with my team, I'm working with people, and I need this to go well, and it's not going well. How has that happened for you in the past,
Yeah.
and what did you do to overcome that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I've been on the receiving end and the delivering end of that. And I've had some great lessons out of that. What I know for me as an entrepreneur, and I'll go back to the story of where I was building the business that we hit the $1 million and on. What I have learned over the years is when you've got a team, and for me, as I said, the team is not just limited to the people that I employ, and I don't care how you employ them, casual, part-time, full-time. It's also your interested parties. It could be your investors. It could be your circle of influence. The most important thing is for you to really define what is the vision for the business, where you want to take it, what's your goals, and jolly well share them with everybody. Because if you can get their buy-in, like I remember a process that every quarter we would revisit our values and purpose and the strategic plan. And it was not done at the senior level. It was done as an entire team workshop. Senior people muddled up with the junior people and all the different levels. And yet you lost a day of work. But what you got out of that was you're enabling from the receptionist to a senior manager role to be involved in the strategic plan of your business. When you can do that, because, all your team members have a different perspective of what it means for them to do their role. We as owners and business owners, we look down on, and we might have been that person once upon a time. As you said, we've all had the hats, but we might have had doing those roles at once upon a time, but we don't have the current perspective, what it is to pick up the phone when the phone rings and you're the receptionist, you're speaking to a customer. We don't have that perspective anymore unless you proactively go and do that job every now and then. So involving your team, involving my team in the strategic plan for every quarter, what worked last time, what didn't, what can we improve, what we're going to aim for, you get buy-in along the way. And so that helps smooth out those wrinkles that happen, right? But in that process, I've found that developing the values for the business, and I've often spoken about this lately, even my personal values is against my business values, I use them as a checklist. So if there's a challenge with a team member and they've helped us develop those, I can say, hey, Sally, you see these values that we've got here? Can you tell me, help me to understand, I love using that phrase, help me to understand how your current behavior or performance aligns to these values? Because you agreed to them, did you not? Let's have a conversation about how we can resolve that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
It works really well.
We have the 6 basic rights of personal growth. And even though those that we teach other people, we live as well.
You got to walk the talk, right?
If we're not doing the work ourselves, then we have no business selling it to others, right? So I love that. I love that so much. For us, for me personally, I have been on both ends, right?
Yeah.
I have been on a team infuriated because my voice was not being heard.
Yes.
Ground, talking to the people and hearing what their complaints are and being, well, they're just saying that. They're just saying that because of that. And so for me, when it came down to building my own company and creating the company culture, I had to decide that, you know what? Everybody's feedback counts. Everybody's feedback counts, right? It can't be just, well, that's, or that is,
don't dismiss it.
They're just saying that, or whatever it is. I have to really royally consider it. And I may way eventually, but at least it go through the test of like, well,
heard.
Is there another option? Is there a way that we can achieve what we're to achieve? There may be no, there's nothing else we can do, or that's not something in the house, right? Because you think someone complains about your app. I'm not the app developer. I can't move, that part to another part to make it easier for them. There's nothing I I can do with look into it and see if there's something I can do. And so kind of applying that customer service hat that we
Yes.
do and saying, how can I make sure that I am supporting you as you support me? How can I invest in you as you invest in me? Comes from my experience of not getting that, right? It
Yeah.
comes from
So
my
important.
experience of feeling like I'm building your business and you could care less about you could care less about me and what I'm doing, and never wanting anyone to feel that way. So for me, for like that, the problem of butting head, because I'm like, I just want to be heard and not became for me a like driving force on how I was going to build the culture. And
Yeah. And I know.
so
Yeah, keep going.
yeah, so we are,
Ask for help.
and ask us the next question, which is for help when you're trying to solve problems with connecting with others. So who are the people you should ask to help you with that problem?
I think there's going to be a circle of people that you should speak to, because they're going to come to it from different perspectives. It could be family members, right, who have your personal best interests in mind. It could be your coach and your mentor. And I would encourage every person who's in a career, in their own business, you need someone as a sounding board to hold you and check you. And I just want to put a little differentiator between your coach and your mentor, because they're actually two completely different things. In my mind, the coach is going to poke you with questions, and they will potentially be quite annoying, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They will poke you with questions because they deeply know that you have the answers within. And we got to pull those answers out. The mentor is going to connect you with your people, share their experiences, guide you, help you, introduce you to people that they feel are going to best serve you, and maybe your coach. And there are some people, I sometimes find I sit on either side of that fence.
Yeah.
And so the people you should ask, you should just check inside first. Do they have the experience and credibility and tenure and all those sort of things that if I'm going to ask them a question, I believe that they have the ability and capability, authenticity to be honest and truthful, but also have the experience to share their insights and to hold you and check you. And it could be just to ask you another question, which can sometimes be a little bit annoying. But really just think about it. And so you're not just limited to your boss, to your supervisor, to a colleague. It could be people outside. It could be people that you see on these types of forums, podcasts, and so on. Find people who have what you would deem to have the experience and credibility and the openness to reach out and connect. And to, it could be, well, I've got this question. It's interesting how often we come across people who say, I believe this is my challenge. You dig a bit deeper, and often it's not. There's something underlying sitting under there, and you want somebody to dig a bit deeper to help you to recover what that is, right? I believe that's what I believe.
Yeah, I laugh at that because it's really funny, because most of the time it's not the actual problem that they are presenting you with that is the problem. It's the symptom of the problem that they're actually dealing with at the time. So yeah, I would definitely say, if you are finding, okay, so most of us show up in our lives and in our businesses and in our branding and our networking all the same way, even though we may feel like we are different people. No. When I'm at home, completely different person than when I'm dealing with my clients and dealing with the people at work.
Yes.
And I find that it may be a different tone in how you speak, but the behaviors are exactly the same no matter where you go, because the mindset is the same, right? Like our mindset behind how we see people and how we judge or perceive the things that are happening around us are exactly the same. So I would definitely recommend that you deal with a coach in whatever area that you're working on, but that who is really good in understanding that mindset and can actually see past the symptom that you're saying,
around it.
No. Well, the only reason why I'm not able to do this in my business is because other people aren't helping me the way that they should help me. When the reality is, it might be a communication problem, and so your coach needs to be able to say, "Hey, yeah, are you asking? Right? Like, are you actually communicating very specifically what your desire is?" Like Joanne, like I know if I sent you to Joanne right now, you said, "Oh, I'm not making the $1 million in my business because all these other people in my team, they just don't get it, and they're like, I don't know what it is. People just don't work well anymore." Untrue.
Mm.
Not true. People
Not
are just
true.
lazy. Not true. I will tell you,
Not
I am
true.
a person who is lazy. And I will tell you, if you communicate with me properly, you get the world.
You will
You
get the job
communicate
done.
incorrectly
Absolutely.
with me, you will get nothing. I am a lazy person. I know that. People need to be spoken to a certain way. And I know if I sent you to someone like Joanne who understands that what you were complaining about is not the problem,
Not
but the
the problem.
symptom
No.
of the problem,
Yeah.
she's going to be able to help
Yeah.
you.
Exactly.
And so surrounding yourself with people who walk the walk and talk the talk and have proof in the pudding that they do these things on a regular basis, and everyone around them is vouching for that, are going to be the people that you need to really surround yourself with to kind of make that. But I mean, you've heard it 1,001 times, right? Like, oh, it's all of them. They're the reasons why.
Blame
They don't
everybody
understand
else.
anything.
Yeah. It's not me. It's not me. I'm perfect. Yeah. And yeah, I think that we also should make a point, which your program and what you do in your business covers all this, because you've got all these different elements and programs that people can jump into. So the listeners don't feel that you only need one coach or only need one mentor. There's coaches across different streams, but it could be that you've got a number at any given time. Like I would consider Monica my coach because I've built a connection and I know I can pick you up and say, hey, what do you think about that? So there can be informal and formal arrangements, but so surround yourself with people, not a person.
Yes.
Because it's going to be, you're going to need legal, accounting, life, financial, business growth, scaling, all these things. And it's not to overwhelm people, but it's to understand actually you've got a buffet of people that can pick you up and support you and hold you accountable. And I think that's empowering. That's not a scary thing. That is, wow, let's go take the world by the throat and give a jump and shake. I think that's awesome.
Yes.
It's just wonderful.
Yeah. And I mean, hanging out in communities like ours, like in MinkLife, right, where you can come and just vent and say like, okay, here are all the things that I'm doing, and everyone's there to support you in that process and say, okay, wait a minute. So I don't know that part. I may not be able to help you with that part, but I can help you with this part. Or and they be truthful about that, because I think the other trap, right, is that you go to someone who says they can do it all for you. And I would say that would be a red flag. So the people you do not want to surround yourself with is someone who says, you don't need a coach. You don't need another person. I am the end all be all to problems that you have. Run the other
Run fast. Yes, run.
That's behind you. If they're the only coach you need, if they're saying that, if they're saying all you need, you don't need to talk to anyone else. I got all of I'm a one-stop shop. Run the other way, because it's impossible to be the one-stop shop. And it, like we've been talking about this whole time, it requires an entire council to build your business. And so it's so important. Okay, so we are rounding the base here. We have one last question. For one tip, so I know you have lots of tips you have to maximize your business by focusing on building a team. What's the one tip?
There's a few things I've got to work out. What am I going to say directly to that question? I'm going to start with not quite answering it. One of the strategies that worked for me incredibly well, and this is why Monica and I are getting on so well, is that I found somebody who did something exactly the same as me, but what I did added value to their offering. So I built a business from 0 to 30 million in 24 months. And people look at that and go, oh, well, that was an overnight success. Well, that's garbage, because it took me 25 years to get to that point, to be in a position to do that, building the team, understanding the process. So I knocked on the doors of all my competitors and said, if I partnered with you, it would look like this. And I'm going to build a team that will help me to automate everything. So I had 100 people by the end of that business. And a lot of those teams were there to support the partnership that I'd created with my competitors. So I was one of the first organisations here in Australia delivering training that fully automated everything. And I had a heap of staff doing it all manually. Now, I didn't want to get rid of those people. But what I did do, because I automated and because I put these agreements in place with my largest competitors, I could then pick up those people and give them a more fulfilling role. Instead of data entry, I educated them, I trained them, I built their capacity to be customer engagement officers. And so they were picking up the phone and talking to our customers and making sure, there was an education company, making sure they were progressing through their call. So it was a mixture of strategies. It was being open to go, how do I scale my business? And is it something I can do inside to create efficiencies? So that's what I did. But how can I go to an external party to help me do that? And that, as I said, was knocking on the doors of my competitors. And because we're in the education industry, I knew it intimately well. I went and did the research to go, what's their pain point that I can fill? And how can I repurpose my team and give them a more fulfilling role, from data entry, computer work, all that, so sitting in front of a screen, to giving them empowering them to talk to customers and help those customers progress through their programs and courses. So it's a bit of a lengthy answer to a short question, but it's giving the team permission to grow and change how they perform in their role, educating them. Like I'm over 60, I've owned 16 businesses, and I can tell you today, I continue to educate myself. And so if I'm going to do that for me, I have to be prepared to do that for my team.
Yes.
And find their passion, find what their goals and dreams are, and how can they work within your business to help them fulfill their goals and dreams. So what do you do to support their education, their further development? Do you put in mentoring and buddy systems in your business? It all sounds like a lot of work, but as in growing any business, it's a lot of work. And so it's connecting with the right people like Monica, myself, and the team that are here to help you and grow you and give you the strategies to eat that elephant one bite at a time.
Love that. Yeah. And I would say my one tip is going to kind of tie into yours, which is, you got to make your mission accessible to the mission of those who are in your business. So
Yes.
I 100% of the time always ask people, what are you trying to achieve in your business? What are you trying to grow? What are you trying to do in the end? And I make it my mission to make sure that they hit their mission. And by helping them make their mission, they are 9 times out of 10 more like, if I ask them to do anything, they're like, oh yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Because they know the end. If they ask me to do anything, I'm going to say, yeah, no problem. And it's
Yes.
the ability to do that first, right?
Yes.
Before, be able to come from a place of contribution before you ask for someone to help you. That really kind of allows you to grow exponentially and quickly. There's no way in the world I could be global talking to my friend Joanne in Sydney if I wasn't coming from that place of contribution, finding
Yeah.
out all of the partners that I had along the way, all of the people who were a part of this journey of making MinkLife what it is. If I had not asked them what their dream was and how can I help facilitate your dream, as you're helping me facilitate mine, we would not have had
No.
business. And so by taking the time to actually understand what someone else's dream is and figuring out how your mission can support their dream, and can help them in that. And I don't mean by money. I know a lot of the times we think, oh well,
Yeah.
the people need money and that's how you're going to help them support their dream. But sometimes that's not it. Sometimes
No.
they do need education. Sometimes they do need a mentor. Sometimes they do need other elements of support that they're not getting in
Exactly.
other places. And so by being the cheerleader and the supporter of someone else's dreams, they will absolutely do that in return for you as
Oh,
well. So that's my one tip. And
love it.
we are at the end of the show, and like I told you, we could probably talk for another 45
For
minutes. But
hours.
I want to give you an opportunity to give an announcement and let us know, how can we connect with you? How can we engage with you? What do you got going on in your world?
Well, you can reach out to me anyway, but there's a link here for a brand new program that I launched this week, literally, for the Her Transformation Program. And this is speaking to women, and whether they're working for a business or they own a business, Her Transformation is exactly that. Because if you're going to grow a business, scale your career, the first place you've got to start is with you. So all the things that Monica and I were chatting about, and we could talk for hours, literally, I want to help you work through an online program. It's mentoring with me. It's an 8-week program. It's online. There's community. There's forums. So there's a landing page here at navigatebiz.com, Her Transformation. But in there is an opportunity to connect with me directly. Like, I would love just to have a chat. There's a link there to book some time. There's an ebook to download. There's some little snippets of what the course looks like. But what I know is there are so many women globally who don't feel that they can go to the next level, can build that business, can scale it. And we're all really good at that self-talk. And it's about working on that, working on you, connecting back to your genius, inspiring you to take transformational change. So I'm really excited about this program. It's all there. If you go to my website as well, there's even a button just to call me direct. I make it really easy to reach out because I love just chatting to other people in business.
I love that. I always say, don't make it hard. Make it easy. Yes. All right. So if you want to connect with me, it's super easy. You just go to monicamhenderson.com. Right there, you can stalk me on all the social media and book a calendar meeting with me, find out about all the programs. It's all in one place. So you just go to monicamhenderson.com. There's my calendar. You'll see my smiling face looking at you. Hey, you. And get on my calendar so we can have a chat and we can move on. But there is so many announcements that we have for the Mingle online community. So I'm just going to hit you with them right now. The first announcement is you. Yes, you can be with us on the show. We come live every Wednesday and every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and 2 p.m. Pacific time. You can join the conversation just by going to either Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube to find us. But if you think that you are dope enough, you want to join the conversation and be one of the boxes on the screen, well, guess what? You can also be a part of the show. You're just going to go to MinkLife Motivation Live, MinkLife Motivation /live, and there you will find an application for you to be on the show. If you want to watch the show, but you maybe can't do it visually, don't worry. It turns into a podcast. We are streaming, yes, in all of these places. So you can listen to us on the go. So you can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. We're all there. All you got to do is just pop it into the place that you find your podcast. And I don't know if you are a dynamic speaker or not. Oh, I forgot. Next week on Wednesday, I will be back having a conversation with you while I will help you maximize your business with a new guest. So don't forget to join me next week. And last but not least, if you are a dynamic speaker and you want to hit a stage, this message is you.
Calling all dynamic speakers. So many people are struggling. Together, we have the power to create a global impact. We are looking for dynamic speakers to partner with us in our mission to help millions live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled. We need speakers in 4 areas of expertise: personal development, business development, brand development, network development. Apply today at www.nextglobalvirtualconference.com.
Heyo. All right. Well, we have done it. We have finished. So if you our conferences are coming up and all the things are going up, you know where to hit up Joanne. I think we're done. I think we've done it. Thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
My pleasure.
Always a pleasure to talk to you. We're probably going to keep talking after this. Y'all can't be part of it though, because we'll see you next time. All right. Have a good day. Bye.
See you.